the people that are most sought after, the people that are the most successful, are the ones that consistently build on their own philosophy, something that requires significant life data to acquire, something that requires a lot of persistence to maintain. And these philosophies, or even the concept of forming these philosophies, I believe are not really taught in Western culture and a lot of our school systems. And I've always wondered why that is, because when it comes down to it, a lot of the ideas, a lot of the cool stuff that people come up with are based on a strong philosophy that they have. That, for instance, if a scientist is testing a hypothesis, the scientist genuinely needs to believe that somewhere in their life that truth exists. And I was having a conversation with a close friend of mine about truths, fundamental truths in life, and we both kind of came to the conclusion that a capital T truth in life doesn't really exist for everyone. It might be influenced by your culture, but most of the time it's influenced by your individual perspective, and again, your individual philosophy. For instance, a truth in my life is that natural selection is not about the strongest person in an ecosystem or environment. It's actually more about how well that individual or that species is suited to its environment, meaning how well it works along with everything else. And this type of thing has influenced a lot of the way that I approach building culture in my communities, or creating initiatives to be more inclusive, or even just the way that I've socialized personally whenever I'm hanging out with people that I don't really know quite very well comparatively. I'm a lot more willing to bring them into conversations and try to include people, because I believe that there are different perspectives in life and that we should be embracing diversity. You know, it allows us to be more unified as a species, and personally it allows me to have a more realistic view of life. So it's my belief that if you don't manifest an individual philosophy in your life, that you are probably not going to be as effective as the individuals around you that have a strong philosophy and follow through. It's difficult. Obviously, most of the stuff I talk about is not all that easy to do, but at the end of the day, why are you here? Do you want to do stuff that's easy? Do you want to do stuff that everyone else is doing? Or do you want to do stuff that's going to propel you into being the best possible you that you can be? And ideally, become a pillar for those around you. If the answer is yes, then, you know, keep listening. I think individual philosophies really make you into an attractive person. A strong philosophy on the way that you look at things, the way that you approach relationships, will make it so that when you come across people, strangers, that you really have something to say, a substantial viewpoint to offer to any conversation or circumstance or maybe board that you're on. It makes you stronger in your reserve and more confident. It makes you feel like you're doing something purposeful outside of your work life and outside of the expectations of potentially your parents or the people around you. A strong individual philosophy allows you to make educated decisions rather than reacting all the time. I think with social media and all of the text messages and the fact that we have literal instant access to every single person on our phone or our computer, we tend to be put into situations where we are encouraged to be more reactive, right? Like if you look at all these, like if you look at YouTube, the thumbnails, if you look at Instagram, or if you look at advertisements even these days for movies like Mission Impossible, for instance, right? you're constantly giving something to react to, a stimulus, an outside stimulus. And a strong philosophy about life and about the way to carry yourself, I believe, will mitigate some of that reactive energy and make it so that you're being more thoughtful about the way that you live your life and about the way that you come across and your impact on certain things. Nurturing an individual philosophy allows you to be a rock in people's lives. That's at least what I've found in my pursuit of trying to become a speaker and uplift people through the things that I've learned so far. I've realized that a lot of people have come up to me and say, hey man, good job. Like, you know, the stuff that you're doing makes me think. And sometimes they come to me with questions about how to maybe sharpen up a certain aspect of their routine, or just like, hey Rob, like how would you go about doing this? Or maybe indirectly even asking advice. And because I have this philosophy of, hey, emotional intelligence is really important, and your purpose and your self-love and all of these things are really important, I get to inject those things into any piece of advice that I'm giving people, which feels really good, because I don't think I'm giving people any sort of negative energy. You know, I want to be someone that's positive and inspirational, so that I can die happy. You know what I mean? Like I want to make a positive impact in people's lives, and a strong philosophy that's come from a lot of hours of being alone and thinking about stuff and exposing my stuff to new things gives me that ability, which I'm really proud of. Something that I don't get to say to myself very often, but it feels good. It feels good to be valuable in people's lives, or to have an opinion that might be vaguely valued in social situations with people that are potentially way older than me. And it all comes from just thinking a lot and reading a lot of books and making friends with people that also like talking about philosophy and like to kind of parse through some of the difficult things in life. You know, it's I think philosophy should be taught in schools, like when we're young. You know, I think we should be required to engage in deep conversations with our peers to start forming that stuff younger, because a lot of the time we get out of our education, we get out of our jobs to a new job, and we're not really equipped with trying to pick up the pieces and put it all together and see where we want to really go next. I think a lot of people don't spend very much time thinking about, you know, their goals down the line, like 10 years, 15 years down the line, where they really see each other. And the people that inspire me a lot, the ones that also have very strong philosophies, they say you should make goals. You don't want to be in a situation where you don't know where you're headed, because it's very dangerous, right? Like you could become anyone in 5 years. Think about 5 years ago, like yourself 5 years ago was probably a very, not a different person. I think you're the same person. If you journal in any capacity and you read your journals, you realize it's the thoughts and the emotions of that person from the last journal entry are probably in line with your soul in general. But the things that you're going through every 5 years, the friends that you have, the opportunities that are available to you, those tend to be very, very different. And 5 years from now, you have to expect that's going to be the case too. So do you want you from 5 years to kind of not necessarily have a track that you currently have developed? You know, there is an argument to be made. Okay, yeah, I want to constantly be aware of new things and new ideas. But I think the cold hard reality is, if you don't set your goals and you don't set kind of that image of what you want to be when you're later on in your life, we'll go for maybe retirement, you know, chances are you're not going to get there, right? Chances are you're not going to actualize this probably complete version of yourself. Forming a strong philosophy on life and just how to go about conducting yourself, it helps you fill the time. You know, it helps you think about the things that you want to do with your days and the people that you want to spend your time around and the experiences that you wish to have, you know, like how you want to approach things in life. There was a concept of worst case scenario, basically risk reduction, which a lot of really successful people think about all the time. Like if the worst possible thing happened, where would I be, right? How would I deal with it? And that comes from years of kind of training yourself to think about broader things and your timeline and your impact. My advice is form a really strong philosophy on life. Strength is not about being hard. Okay, it's not about being steel. It's not about being a sword, because swords break, right? Something that's rigid is also brittle potentially, you know? It can break. Strength, in my opinion, comes from adaptation. The ability to say to yourself that though you were a different person 5 years ago, you're okay with that. And though you might be a different person 5 years from now, you're okay with that. That's real strength to me. And having a philosophy that incorporates that, I think is really worthwhile having, because we're about to go through some shit in this world. I promise you, just look around, man. Woman, them, just look around and you'll realize that the pandemic is not the worst thing that's going to happen to us in our lifetime. And your philosophy is the only thing that's going to protect you from that change. So it's a deep message, and I hope you got something from it. I post these types of videos every day. My mission is to give myself and the people that listen some tools to build our emotional intelligence so that we can go and try to influence the rest of the humans we know to be the best possible that they can be. I think society's kind of headed in a place where people are disconnected from one another and disconnected from a sense of purpose. And that comes from just having a ridiculous population of human beings on the planet. If we train ourselves to work together and to really understand us as individuals through meditation or forming these philosophies, I think we'll have better outcomes for a larger amount of organisms, greater than just humans. I have a bunch of links in the description that you can check out. Please comment. You know, I love hearing comments. I always get back to people about the things that they say, or questions that they might have, or like this video, help spread the message, and then try to share it if you can. I know it's hard putting yourself out there and showing people the things that you value, but it could be part of your individual philosophy, right? But anyway, ciao. You know, live long and prosper, and live a beautiful life. You know, it's up to you. It really is. Take care.